Hey guys, welcome back to Get a Heck Yes with me, your host, Carissa Wu. I have a very special guest. Her name is Kunbi, and she is a business attorney and strategist based in New York. She said it's scorching hot right now. She is
hmm
a founder of Legally Set, an online template shop offering legally sound contract templates for entrepreneurs, event pros, and creative business owners. And Kumbi is a seasoned online business owner as the founder of Perfeet, a luxury event publication providing stylish yet valuable guidance for the overwhelmed celebrant. And we're going to talk all about legal shit today. Welcome, Kumbi.
Thank you, Carissa. Thanks so much for having me. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, and she's a new mom and she might be breastfeeding here on our show today, but so give her some grace. She's got a lot going on, this incredible woman. But I guess in your words, just I said a little bio about you, but in your own words, tell us a bio in your own words.
Oh, thank you, Carissa. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I mean, honestly, you said it all, but my name is Kunbi. I am an attorney, and I've been practicing now going on 12 years. Actually, it's past 12 years. So we keep going. But I'm aging myself with that statement. But yes, so I've been practicing for a while. I am also I'm the founder of Perfect, like you mentioned, which is an event and wedding inspiration resource basically. I've basically been in this little balance between the events side and my legal side for a long time. I created Perfect when I was planning my wedding, and then when I wanted to find a little release from practicing law on a day-to-day basis, I just dabbled in the inspiration world. So yeah, so that's me. I'm also a mama, as you said, and
Yeah.
learning the humbling reality of working from home during this period as an entrepreneur and as a new mom. So exciting times.
Yeah, you have a 4-year-old son and a 6-month-old daughter. So, congratulations. That's a beautiful time, yet very rough time in one's life, especially for us badass boss ladies.
Yes, you know it. It's an interesting time, but there's nothing we can't like conquer. So here we are.
Yeah, I was just texting my husband. I was like, "Can you leave before 9:40?" Like, yeah. I was like, "Bye, baby. Get out."
Well, that's
He
true
needs to.
because you're 3 hours behind. Yeah, so your day's starting. Oh God.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, so let's first talk about Perfect, your publication. You started when you were getting married and you fell in love with the industry. Tell us all about the publication.
So yeah, wow. It started 10 years ago because my 10-year wedding anniversary is in like 3 weeks. So that's how I've been
Oh.
holding to remember. But but it started off as something called I'll Perfect. I was just like blogging through my wedding and like planning, like pouring. Everybody knows how like chaotic the wedding planning process can be, especially when you think you know everything and think that you got it. But so it's like that was what happened. I was planning my wedding, and by planning, I mean planning in the background as my actual wedding planner was making the magic happen.
Uh-huh.
Just sharing
Yeah.
all the things that were happening through the process, and then it was one of those things where I was just blogging for a couple of friends, and then it ballooned into something else. All of a sudden, I was averaging like 1 million views on a time when like obviously when blogs were really like it was a big deal for us, which it still is, but like when it was a big deal in terms of Google traffic, when people were searching for inspiration, and
Mm.
it just kind of skyrocketed into something. I'm Nigerian originally, and so
Mhm.
a lot of my inspiration will always come from the lens of me being someone who really enjoyed stylish, elaborate weddings, being a black woman, being Nigerian, and being someone that was planning a wedding in America. So that way, it just became like the inspiration resonated with much more people than just people in America, but people around the world. And then in
Wow.
2019, we rebranded to Perfect. So it's called Perfect now because we wanted to also start featuring events that weren't weddings because life doesn't begin and end at the aisle. There's so much that can happen in between. So,
Oh, I love that, and I am very familiar with Isle Perfect, so I can't believe that's you, and I'm talking
oh
to you.
yeah, oh my god, that's so
Yeah,
exciting. Yeah, so
that's
it's yeah, it was a big change, but it's something that now we've been able to like share other things. Just like my life was transitioning from just like weddings to other things, I kind of took the publication with me basically.
That's cool because you're right. Like after the wedding, some people get the wedding post wedding blues because it's like everything like the vendors are not like on your jock anymore and like no
Mhm.
one like you have nothing to plan and you're just kind of like what do I do with my life? So then they'll go to your blog and be like, "Hey, there's more to look forward to than just the wedding."
Exactly, exactly. So that was definitely the situation. Sorry, Carissa, 1 second.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, I warned everyone. Bring them the. Oh, how cute! What is her name?
It's Ara.
Ara. Oh my god. How do you spell that?
ARA.
Ah, cutie.
So yeah, so
Ara.
you get it. Sorry, like
No, don't be sorry at all. This is life. This is life. And I shot my first, not my first, my second Nigerian wedding this past Saturday. So the bride was from Nigeria and the groom was half Filipino, half Chinese. So it was a multicultural wedding.
Oh wow, that must have been really fun. There's lots of culture mixing together. I always love like multicultural weddings.
Yes.
There's so much meaning to it, which is has always been like one of the things that
Yeah.
about like weddings, even beyond the whole planning. It's just the merging of cultures, merging of backgrounds. So
Yeah, it was so beautiful, and the bridesmaid gave me some advice. She was like, "Hey, like focus on the family. Of course, wedding parties important, but yeah, lots of photos of the family, meaning like parents and lots of candids, and just go for it." I was like, "Thank you for telling me that. That's really good advice."
you know what? I think it's something that it's actually funny that you mentioned that because I think even as an attorney now reviewing contracts like for vendors sometimes because I'd say maybe like 20% of my clientele ends up being like people in the events industry, right? Like
Yes.
reviewing some of their agreements sometimes I feel like it's something that really people should add into their SOP somewhere is speaking to someone like especially when you're shooting a multicultural wedding to find out what especially as a photographer what's important. Like it's not
Mm,
just a shot list like a traditional shot list or anything like that because it's something I remember from my wedding too. We had actually hired a Nigerian photographer, so he was already aware of like the
mm,
customs and things like that. But I
mhm,
imagine that's not the same for everyone. And so, like one thing that I always end up hearing is, "Oh, but they didn't capture anything that was important to me. They just captured like the traditional portraits or like people dancing, but then there's so much going on in the background in terms of culture that you want
mm.
to make sure you're getting everything. So you're not in a situation where someone's coming back and being like, oh, I'm not satisfied with the pictures because it's missing like 50% of what I wanted.
Yes, you gotta dig deep in your clients' wants and needs and what's important. That is so, so powerful.
Yeah.
But I will give you a couple
Sure.
minutes to go breastfeed and then we'll come back. Okay, guys, let's see. We are back with Kumbi. She had a little breastfeeding sesh with her beautiful daughter. So just to recap, she is has a beautiful wedding blog called Perfete, Perfete. Previously, Isle Perfect, and it's just an amazing resource for brides and after the big day, and it's just full of cool blog posts. And I'm just gonna be binging on this. But I'm going to be talking today about your legaleset.com website, which I'm on right now, which I absolutely love your website, but it's ready made contract templates tailored to your industry. So tell me all about these templates and like why they're so important to you, Miss Lawyer from New York.
So okay, so that was why I was even going into the perfect story before is because of that I've been in this industry long enough to have dealt with a lot of vendors, like vendors working like looking to promote themselves, vendors looking to work with us and things like that. And so being having that like unique insight of seeing both ends and seeing what the legal problems have been in this industry, um I created Legally Set. Legally Set is, like you said, it's a contract template shop as well as an educational resource for creative professionals. So creative professionals across the spectrum. One of which is people in the events and hospitality industry. Our contract templates are attorney drafted by two
Mm,
attorneys, myself and another attorney, and we've created these documents that are because we know how expensive it can be for some people
mhm,
to be able to afford the hourly rate of an attorney and created
mhm,
these contracts that we have put the general idea quibbles, everything that an event professional would go through during their, their agreement with a client, and created these attorney drafted, vetted industry contract templates that you can purchase and then use for your own business, depending on what it is that you're doing, whether it's an event planner, if you're a photographer, whether you're a hybrid event planner and floral designer, or you are a floral designer or a caterer. There are contract templates on the website that are already drafted with hours and hours of attorney time, so that then you're able to have a starting point to be able to send something that's actually solid to your client. Because we know, especially after COVID, which is when I started working on them, it just became clear that
Wow.
we're going to be a big issue in the events and hospitality industry. And so protecting yourself should be the priority.
Oh, I'm glad that you said that for COVID because it was a tough year,
Ooh.
2020, when, do you give that money back or do you not? And do you
Mhm.
have that in your clause? And what are you going to put in your clause later? So you're helping so many wedding professionals out there. And just for whoever's listening, they're very affordable, like $199, $399, and this could save your butt. But I don't like to be negative, but I just want to kind of paint the scene for people listening or watching. But tell us some bad things that could happen to wedding pros if you don't like have legal stuff in order.
This is one of my favorite things to talk about, because
Oh, cool.
I basically call myself the boogeyman here when it comes to things like this, because there's so much. Can we curse here?
Yes, of course.
There's so much shit that comes up. There's so many things that you keep leaving. People keep leaving money on the table because their contracts aren't up to like stuff. Because so even just to start, like one of the things first of all is disputes with clients as to refunds. It's one that's most
Mm.
popular. Like depending on, regardless of when that person is asking for the refund, with date changes and things like that, you end up
Mhm.
finding yourself in a situation because your contract isn't clear as to what happens in the event of a cancellation, of a date change, or of, for any reason at all, what's going to happen, how much money do you have to, especially for people that collect retainers, people that collect deposits, whatever the situation, people that have collected some kind of money before the day, or maybe even people that haven't collected anything. It's like one thing that your contract could really fuck you up with is with
Mhm.
not being very clear about the outline terms as to how payments will happen, if any money is going back, what's non-refundable under any circumstance. And then you find yourself in a situation where you have to start going back and forth with the client, or even end up in court, and then you're spending more money than the contract was even worth in the first place, to fight for the money the money that you want, or the money that you've earned. That's one off the top.
Wow. That's crazy because I got fucked up like 2021 because I don't have many boundaries in my business. I just kind of do everything, which was bad. But one boundary I had was I only shoot one wedding per weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And because of all the reschedules, I had to do crazy back to backs with my 1 year old. So I was crazy.
God.
Like I would have so much anxiety and I just got fucked like last year. But
No, you see, that's what we're talking about. Like this, that's the kind of thing that can literally not just ruin your business, but ruin your mental health as well. You find
Mhm.
yourself juggling so much, and then having to carry on way more than it's worth. Especially if, like, maybe even that money is already long gone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you now find yourself having to
Totally.
double, like, money that it's already. There's nothing worse than money that's already been earned in the past, because now you're not even seeing the reward for it. So I can imagine that must have been very, very stressful for you.
Yeah, it was so stressful. But let's talk about something positive. Tell us about some wins of your, clients that have, purchased your contracts and like kind of like a review of
Mm-hmm.
how you protected them and what
Oh,
happened from them.
another favorite of mine, because who doesn't like to brag? But one thing for sure, I would start from, like, even from someone that's a newer, like, photographer, newer planner. The first thing they always say is that the contracts are very serious. The contracts are serious, and the contracts are helping them set the tone for their relationship.
Mm.
Because I think
Mhm.
one thing people forget is, like, you also want to be that professional person that's letting them know that you're about your business from the beginning.
Mhm.
There's
Mhm.
nothing cooler than that to me. It also sets those boundaries that we all kind of miss, where it's like, okay, this is how,
Mm.
don't fuck with me. This is how we're going to be handling business from now. Another one is like a client of mine separately, but who also purchased the template, because the templates are just, ready for you to use. Was already swearing by how with the disputes that happened the second round of COVID. Like, that second, not the first 2021, but
Uh-huh.
like by the time everybody started getting into it and getting 2021, they were like, oh, I didn't even have to fight anything. Like, it wasn't even a question. Everybody was just able to know that, okay, per the terms of my contract, this is how we'll be handling this. And everybody behaved themselves. Or, listen, I went, like, they tried to call their lawyer, and even their lawyer was like, well, there's nothing we can do here because here is how this is already said. And I think creatives, what I like to call my target like clientele is passion fueled entrepreneurs, people that are passion driven, people that are creating these businesses that they feel so passionately about. The problem with being a passion fueled entrepreneur is that everything's personal to you, and everything is like, these things that you've sweat and created
Mm.
becomes something that you want to protect. But because we, as I don't know about you, Carissa, but like for me, like as a creative, sometimes I just want to create. I don't want to have to deal with the back end.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the law is there.
Ah, I love that. And like you said, you're setting the stage for your clients because I've been in the business for 13 years. And if you get someone that, takes advantage of you for one thing, it's just kind of a slippery slope to other things. So you got to set that benchmark of like, you are a professional and you have your guidelines, you have your contract, you have your terms.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you work, and they will respect you. And from that, you'll have a better relationship and better photos. And yeah, a better relationship with them.
Especially like for photographers create, like, you have a natural inherent copyright in the content that you create, right? And so that's already something huge of value that you need to protect from the minute before you even start pressing click click. Like, everything needs to be set in that regard, and there's nothing more painful, obviously, for photographers than seeing your work somewhere not used the way that you had requested that it was used to get money for somebody else's pockets or anything like that without your
Mm.
permission. There's so much that can happen in there. So it's really important that your shit is in order. Like, there's no other way to say it. Like, everything needs to be well protected in the beginning so that you're not spending way more money. I keep saying this, way more money than it ends up being worth to like fight it in the future.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so I want to ask this question in the best way possible. It's kind of, the name of my podcast, Heck Yes, Get a Heck Yes. But
Hey.
how I absolutely adore your website and it's very clear who you work with and what you do, but how do you get your best heck yes from your ideal clients?
Oh, that's a good one. That's easy actually. Now that I think about it, I get my best heck yes by being about my business. I'm sorry. Like,
Mm.
they've already come to you because they like something that you have. So
Mhm.
first of all, that's the first thing. You're not like you don't have to. For lack of a better word, you don't have to dance for them to be able to get what you need at that point. Do you get what I mean? They are
Yeah.
here for you because they've seen something. So now be about your business. Show them that you have your shit in order in the back end. Like, not just the back end, but in the front too. Show them this is what I cost. This is how it's going to process. This is my processes and everything. And then you will find that if they really are about you, then they're going to go ahead and give you that heck yes, because you've already shown them that not only you're not just cute pictures or whatever, you also have your shit in order. So for me, it's about being about your business.
Ah, and you are about your business having a 6-month-old on your boob while doing my podcast, and I really appreciate it.
That's my business. That's my business right now.
The back, the front, the boob, the shit in order.
That's my
We'll do the
business.
whole dance, yeah.
That's my real employer at the moment. So
Yeah, she's your boss.
my boss.
Awesome. Okay, so that was the pretty much all about you in a nutshell. But let's talk about our hot topic. We could either do tips forums or just banter. But I guess for newer wedding professionals or photographers, let's just talk about like how they get started and like legal stuff and why it's important. Or just take it away with your hot topic and why it's important to you.
Oh, so my hot topic is what I like to say. It's one of my trademarked words. Yes, I actually went ahead and got a registered trademark for it.
Ooh.
It's launch that ish, which is basically launch. Like, I'm always excited to share that people should launch that ish, and which is part of why legally set is so like it's something that I'm very proud of, because it helps, like, even launchers, people that are launching their new careers in whatever creative field it is. It helps them be about, like, get their legal docs in order really quickly with their solid, what I like to say are solid as fuck contracts. But like, so for me, like, my hot topic is obviously making sure that your business is legally set, making sure that
Mm,
your business has that in order. It's by one, making sure that your entity is, like, you have a registered entity if you don't have one, or at least you know what your entity protections are, know
okay.
what kind of liability consequences there are for being X compared to being Y. Speak to an attorney and an accountant about that. Yes, accounting is also another very sexy topic, I'm sure. But another thing is obviously making sure that your contracts are solid as F, making sure that they're doing what they need to do. And not only that, but that you also understand it. Like, I think that one of the excuses that we cannot have is saying that you don't understand all of this stuff. And so you're just letting it go ahead. Anybody that watched Shit Creek knows that that's not how it works. If you let somebody just run your thing, they're going to get your money to the ground.
Yes, I know.
So make sure you understand where your money is going, not just where your money is going, but what your contract is saying and how it actually protects you. It's also making sure that, like with photographers, like if you have, like especially if you have high value clients, or if not, even not, like make sure that you understand why, if you need a copyright registration, if you don't need a copyright registration, how to protect your content, how to protect the work that you're creating. Understand that, because you don't want to be that person that's losing money or leaving money on the table because you're neglecting all of that. Trademark your brand. If you get speak to someone, see if your mark is trademarkable. These are the things that you can do. And then also something like, I know Carissa, you're in California, but this applies to everybody as well, because California privacy laws are beginning to expand to different states are beginning to create things similar. Make sure that your website is up to stuff. Make sure that your website isn't exposing you to some kind of liability. Do you have a privacy policy that explains how you handle client data and the people that come on your site? Do you have website terms and conditions? If you're selling any kind of digital stuff, what are the terms of sale? What do people know that they're getting? What do people know that, like, the rules are when they're shopping or using your site? Like,
Mm,
make sure that your site is ADA compliant. Accessibility, like, are you doing what you need to be doing there? Make sure that you are not exposing yourself. We think
wow.
everything is easier now because we're in like the online space, but the truth is that there are more and more laws coming that are regulating that space, and
Wow.
you don't want to be caught unawares.
Wow.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that
I
was a
mean,
lot.
you're kind of speaking my language because I just launched like a Facebook campaign and I had to do the policy and the trademark. And I looked on your site and you have a bunch of like contracts for me, coaches. So thank you because, I'm kind of telling people that I'm going to help them make money. So I need to protect myself too.
Oh yeah, and Carissa, actually, we didn't speak about this. Like, we're speaking about it live. But once I get off the by the time this goes live, they can use Hekias to shop the Legally Set site and get 20% off. So I'll just email
Oh,
you the information about that, and then we can set it up so that it's live before this goes on.
oh, that's so cool. And then just for people listening too, you have a podcast called Launch That Ish.
Yeah.
Like you said, you have a lot of businesses going on, but everything ties in together like perfectly. So launch that ish. I've been listening. You're a very good interviewer. You're a very good listener, and I really enjoy the conversations you had. I just listened to the one with the fashion blogger, and that
Oh,
was a
you
cool.
did.
Yeah, so that was a cool episode, and I sent it to my friend that she's like an artist, so she's trying to launch that ish. So I guess if a wedding most of my listeners are wedding photographers. So if they're just starting their business, should they just go to legaleset.com and then what should they purchase and like what do they do? Like what's like step 1, step 2?
Well, that's a very great question. One of them, obviously, you can check out legalese.com. You can also check out kunbio.com in case you're looking for, like, personalized legal advice or anything like that. For that one, I need to be obviously admitted in your jurisdiction. So we'll speak about that and see if I can assist you. But Legally Set is good for those people that are maybe just starting off, can't afford an attorney and need contracts, like, that are really solid. There's a photographer bundle
Uh-huh.
there that includes a whole bunch of stuff for a solid discount because they're all combined. And so that way, at least you don't have to stress yourself in terms of trying to figure out where to start. That's a very good starting point. I also share tips and tools on at Legally Said on Instagram from time to time. Half of it is me making fun of certain things, but most of the time I can tell you that it's solid stuff because like I said, this is something that I'm really passionate about, and I know that a lot of, like, nobody has more legal issues than photographers because there's so much going on between not just interfacing with clients but between the intellectual property back end as well with the stuff that you own. So there's a lot to think about and there's a lot to protect. So I can know for sure it's overwhelming, but that's the reason why, like, we created Legally Said, so at least you know that your contracts are at least something that you can sleep well about at the end of the day.
Yep, it's the biggest day of someone's life, y'all. So you better know what you're doing. You better hire me. You better hire Kumbi. Like
Exactly. And actually, we also have something that we have that you can grab for free is a free rescheduling amendment, because a lot of people, like, you might still have to deal with that. So if you go to freeamendment.com,
Uh-huh.
you can just grab a free rescheduling amendment from Legally Set.
Whoa, that would have saved my butt last year.
Hey,
Where were you?
I'm sorry. And
I know.
it's been there all this time.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so do you think a wedding professional slash photographer should get a business license?
Depends. A business license is state specific, so you need to just check and make sure you go on the state, either the Secretary of State website or wherever, and check and see whether or not a license is required in your state. If it is, hell yes. And especially for people that are traveling, like have to do, like, a lot of you will do business outside of your state. Make sure you're checking the state regulations for that. For wherever you're going, destination or otherwise. Some people, they won't even let you travel into a country without a specific license. So make sure you're checking that. So you don't have to now end up calling the client and saying that this is not going to work or anything like that. Also check and see if, one thing I swear by is business insurance. So make sure that you're looking and seeing how business insurance can also help you, especially for people that are carrying so much gear and things like that. You're
Mm.
giving a lot to exposure. So please, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I use Hill and Usher for the past
Oh, I like that.
decade, and they've been awesome. I don't have any comparison because I've been using them for so long, but I think every like State Farm does business insurance,
Like
and
I want to say Geico does, but I might be wrong. I don't
yeah,
know.
maybe. Uh-huh.
It's something called, I can't swear by any. Everybody has different experiences, but there's something called the Hartford as well. So people,
Yeah. The Harvard. Uh-huh. Oh, I think that is Hill and Usher. I think it's the
okay.
same entity. Yeah.
Hmm.
Cool. Okay, so a personal question of mine for you is because you're a mom of two now, and your website is so cool, and I love like you can make money off in your sleep. You probably wake up to kind of like cha-ching. Like, how did you set that all up? That's so cool. Your
I
shop.
am Listen, I am one of those people that chases easy. I'm grateful that I actually had started on a WordPress platform, but then it became really, like, I had an amazing web developer who handled that for me, TMA design, but I ended up switching to Shopify at one point because it just seemed like an easier, like, it already had all those tools and things in there for me to handle. But honestly, one of the
Cool.
greatest things I think that anybody can do is have an online business of some sort, because you're right. Like, there's so much, people people chase instant, like, people like the instant gratification is something that
Yes, yes.
they're drawn to. So you'd be surprised, there's a tool and guidance for everything. If it's something that you find yourself getting overwhelmed with, see if there's a coach or somebody in that space that you can hire, and then that person can help hold your hand at least and guide you through the process of starting their business. There's like a lot of the roadblocks we used to have before about launching that ish, they're no longer there. They're not as
Mm.
somebody right now, as we're sitting down here, somebody's thinking of a way to make things easier for something that you're trying to do. So look for it, do that research, and you'd be surprised. You can go from 0 to 60 days, you could have a full functioning business and, like, already making money.
Yeah, that was actually my next question of the title of your podcast, Launch That Ish. Did you feel like you were running into professionals that just couldn't get their ish launched? Like why that name?
Yes, like, I would say, like, a lot of people, first of all, I'm the kind of person that always seems to find solutions based on the problems that I'm running into. So, like, for
Mm-hmm.
me, a lot of times I was living in my head and, like, putting all these things in my head. I think just trying to give myself every reason why I couldn't launch, every reason why it was this. It's like, oh, this is so overwhelming, I wouldn't even know where to start. Oh, where am I even going to start drafting this from? And a lot of that, I can't remember what, I know coaches will call it, like, analysis paralysis or something like that. Something,
Yes.
I'm not sure what the exact language is, but basically where you live in your house creating the situation where everything else is going to fail. So for me, it was really important that I was empowering myself,
Uh-huh.
saying, Kunbi, okay, get it together and launch that ish. And then I realized that there was a whole tribe outside of that where everybody's like, and now people use it, use the phrase anyway, and they're like, oh no, I need to launch that ish. Like, I need to get it together and just go ahead and launch, because um we hear it all the time that done is better than best, but there's a middle place too, where you could, yes, you would have a little bit of the prep at the back end, but still know that this isn't the final form of whatever you're doing. You can still, like, evolve and grow while launching that ish. So why not?
I love that. I've been trying to do the online thing since my first kid that was in the womb. So I took my first Amy Porterfield online course like 6 years ago. So, and I'm finally doing it because I had crazy analysis paralysis. So, I'm glad that you're helping people just do it. It's
Yeah.
that's a great mindset shift. You could just have your business up and running overnight. My next question was, after launching that ish, what is your favorite like marketing techniques for wedding pros or photographers? Because you have a
Oh,
lot of experience in the wedding industry.
well, so for me, it's obviously being on amazing podcasts like yours. Like one of them is putting yourself out there. I think
Mm,
because you like as creatives, you're so used to being in the back end sometimes in terms of like
mm,
creating and like having other people show your stuff or things like that. At one point or the other, you need to start doing main character energy and going in front and realizing that you are the badass that you're talking about. I told Carissa before we started this that I hadn't been on a podcast in so long and I was really nervous. Now look at us, we're besties. Like
yeah,
it doesn't matter, just go ahead and do that shit. Like list, check out people that in your space, go look at people that like are doing things that you would love to be aligned with. Shoot them a message and be like, hey, like this is what I have to offer, would you be interested in like me coming on and talking about this? Be of value to other people, and then people will see the value in you as well. I think it's really important. um there's so many like even now I know PR companies that are charging a shitload of money to like push people onto podcasts, and there's
yeah,
like which I think obviously is a great business model, but you can also do some of that yourself as well. Like
hmm,
like self promotion is not a bad thing. Go ahead and start promoting your craft, because let me tell you, just like all these people that send you messages on Facebook talking about buy this thing or buy this other thing, they're putting themselves out there, and you need to do the same in whatever
yeah, yeah.
you.
You could just ask yourself to be in the podcast. You don't have to pay that. You don't have to pay the 20K like to have someone do it.
Like go ahead and ask. Like, listen. Otherwise, like you find yourself years and years after like just beating yourself because so much is happening like that you wanted to do, and because of that, like big elephants are sitting down on you and telling you that no, you like the thing that you've created for yourself on your back, like you end up not doing it, and it's there's nothing more worse than being disappointed in your own self.
Yeah, and I actually got chills when you said main character of your own business. I think that really resonated with me because you just have to really put yourself out there. I'm posting my first personal podcast like 5 minutes before our interview right
Oh wow.
now.
Hmm.
And it was like a year ago, I couldn't talk freely in the mic. I would freeze, I would shake. I couldn't even get a point across of what to
Oh
wear for my
wow.
engagement session. Yeah, I'd be sweating like it's like this out of body experience. And then I just went for 15 minutes. I had to pick up my kid, just talked about my 5 pillars and my course. And I was just like, wow, like I could actually talk now.
That's amazing. Look at that. Like, listen, isn't that's a testament in itself? Like I've listened to your podcast, and you seem like you're an absolute natural. So for you to be able to do this and say, like, everybody that's listening, you've heard Carissa. I think this is it. Like, this is the push that you need to go ahead, and she's making herself the main character in her own like business and her life. Like, you should go ahead and do the same. And in a year, you look back and be like, wow.
Ah, I love that advice. Yeah, you go leaps and bounds over mountains. I found you through Brandy Gar. Are you going to be like a part of
Yes,
her summit? Tell us
yes,
about that.
oh, I'm excited. Next week, it's actually next week. So I'm going to be at the Wedding Pro CEO Summit in Orlando, and I'm really excited about it. Brandy has been like she's so inspirational, and
Hmm.
she's been so gracious with me as like I was half of the time I've been absent because of maternity leave. But I'm really excited to be talking to entrepreneurs and CEOs, because everybody like creative entrepreneurs are CEOs of their business. Um, I'm really excited to be talking to them about the legal traps that people can fall into, that you need to try and avoid or see how to get out of. I think it's a very important topic. Like I said, sometimes I do serve as the boogeyman because I think it's really important to be careful rather than have to now start doing damage control.
Oh, I love that. Oh yeah, Brandy Gar is awesome. You guys check her out. She has a cool podcast for wedding planners and professionals, and she's going to have a great event in Orlando. And I'm hoping you could bring your family, right?
Yes, I am.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Will you be there?
no, but I hope maybe she'll ask me one day.
Yes. Oh, knock on wood.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going. Yes, we actually leave this weekend, so I'm really excited.
Oh, cool. Okay. So I guess it's going to wrap it up. I just want to ask you some fun questions. This is such a fun conversation. But what was it like growing up in Nigeria?
It was great. It was great. As a black woman, I think there's nothing really like as being a minority. Period. There's nothing like being a majority in your own country. Like it's so like it's just great. Like
Mm.
for me, one thing that the way to explain it is I just love being me personally. I love being African. I love being a black woman. I love being Nigerian. There's just so much culture, and being around your own people is just beautiful. So coming here was a little bit of a culture shift, obviously, but that's another thing. I've loved being here as well. Like not just assimilating, but also being my own independent person in this big multicultural bucket has been interesting. So Nigeria was fun. There was not.
Oh,
I spent 16 years there before I moved here for college, and I go back every year.
wow. I know that's kind of funny because it's like you take for granted being a majority
In
in your
your own
own area. Yeah, it's like, hey, like I know all the ins and outs. I know all the restaurants and all the restaurant owners. Like,
and then coming here and it's like woo, wow, so much. But yeah,
yeah.
it's a
Oh,
learning curve.
that's so cool. Okay, so you're a new mom of two. Tell us like what it's like you're having two kids right now and like what your hopes for your business and your life in the next like year or so, just like your big vision.
Well, I'm a new mom of two who's deep in the postpartum at the moment in terms of like, figuring out navigating like the balance between having a 4-year old and a newborn. But I am obviously I'm overwhelmed with love. These are children that I had prayed and prayed and prayed hard to have, and now I'm at this end where I have these two beautiful children. I am also just trying to navigate balance at some point here. I know that balance looks different for everybody depending on the season. And right now I'm in the season where I'm supposed to have four hands and I only have two, a pair of hands. So like that's interesting. So it's just
Yeah.
this year. My hope is to strive some kind of some kind of balance. That's
Yeah, I think of like the Sing 2, like the or Sing 1, like the piggy with all like the little piglets, and like she always has like she needs like 5,000 hands going.
that's me right now. I just need I need to have 5,000 hands. I need to have eyes behind my back, like behind my head. Just so many parts that really do not make a full body at the moment. So
Okay, well, I'm not gonna take more of your time, but I guess just like your lasting words to any wedding professionals or photographers struggling out there, just to make things happen, make shit happen.
yeah.
Anything.
Yes, listen, you can do it. Like you are that person that you think you are. You are that badass. Like you can do it. Like go ahead and just do the work in terms of finding out who's doing it, what they're doing, how you can do it, and how you will do it. And listen, you like put the steps in place and figure out how to execute, and you will do it. Like I think one thing that we don't say enough to ourselves is like, listen, I am that person. I am I am that bitch. I will do it, and we're going
Yeah.
to go from it. So.
Oh, I love that. Those are powerful words. And where to find you and how to work with you.
Ooh, so you can find me, like the easiest way is probably to go to kunbio.com to be able to find all my avenues, kunbio.com. Because then if you're looking to purchase your contracts and get ready for contract templates, go to legaleset.com. It's as you hear it,
Uh-huh.
legaleset.com. And there you will find all the templates that you're looking for so you can shop through everything and see what works for you. Be sure to check out the bundles because you can save a whole lot of money that way.
Mhm.
And then if you're looking for wedding event inspiration parties, please visit Perfect. It's basically just a combination of the words Perfect Fet, Perfete. And you can find us on Instagram at those handles. So Perfect or Legally Set. And you find everything you're looking for.
Thank you, Kumbi. This is so fun.
Thanks, Carissa.